Hi, and welcome to Katie's Corner in Space. I'm Katie, and today I'll be reviewing Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 1, Episode 9, All Those Who Wander. This was a rough one, I'm not going to lie. Usually I watch each new episode twice before 6 a.m., and I still did that today, but I really wasn't looking forward to the second run-through. This much crying is a rough way to start the day. The Enterprise is on a Priority 1 mission to deliver energy cells to K7. Without them, the whole station will go dark. Meanwhile, Pike is throwing a little party to send off 2 cadets who've been on board. Uhura is not sure what she wants to do with her life, but she's enjoyed her time on Enterprise, though she misses her grandmother. On their way, the Enterprise receives another Priority 1 mission to follow a distress call. After a little confab with some of the bridge crew, Pike decides to divide and conquer. He and an away team will go down to the planet the distress signal is coming from, while the remaining crew complete the delivery. So upon arrival, 2 shuttles head to the planet Valio Beta 5, while the Enterprise carries on. The planet is cold, snowy, icy. Hemmer loves it, while everyone else is hoping to get out of the cold before the incoming storm reaches them. The Peregrine is down and without power. What's worse, there has been an obvious massacre. Blood and body parts stain the snow and ice. As they enter, Pike assigns duties as they search for any survivors. Once the logs are accessed, the voice of the late captain of the ship shares a warning for Starfleet to stay away. It's a bit late, as La'an notes. So the main story of this episode is to survive, and within that, find out what happened to the crew. The ship's crew had picked up 3 marooned folks, an Orion, a human, and a humanoid species of unknown designation. The Orion hatched several Gorn, and though La'an had hoped the damage had been done by local wildlife, it looks like we are having yet another Gorn encounter. It doesn't take long for the girl and the humanoid to be found, and for M'Benga to give them a once-over. As far as his scans can tell, they are all right. There's no abnormalities. Right about now, Chapel and Spock have a little heart-to-heart about Vulcan emotions, and while Hemmer and Uhura work on getting the power up, they have a little chat, this one about Uhura's fear of putting down roots. Our humanoid friend hatches 4 Gorn babies who immediately turn vicious, killing a cadet as well as its host, and even turning on each other. 3 survive while scaring the bejesus out of Chapel, who gets herself behind a medical force field as quickly as she can. Communications are still down, but the others have sussed out the situation enough to know they are in trouble. The newly minted Lieutenant Duke is having his burn dressed and talking about how lucky he is 1 second and getting dragged away by baby Gorn the next. La'an finds Chapel in the sick bay visibly shaken, and she figures out the Gorn seem to be able to avoid sensors. They're fighting, or rather hunting, blind. And they need to find the girl Ariana. She ran out but found a cold place to hide because the Gorn hate the cold. It's here she reveals the other crew had tricked the Gorn into going outside. Thus solves the mystery of what happened to the crew. Hemmer and Uhura's efforts earn them power for the ship, and as things light up, a high-pitched noise and clicks come from the dark. It's the Gorn. They run, but not before Hemmer is hit with some nasty, burning venom. Looks like slime, but derpier.
He slimed me.
Everyone regroups in sickbay where they discuss what they know so far, and Sam Kirk has a nice little freak out. Anyone else feel he was like channeling the future Dr. McCoy for a second?
Please, Spock, do me a favor, and don't say it's fascinating.
So once the group go over the available info, they decide on a trap, but it's got to be a good trap because the Gorn aren't stupid. They decide on a plan using cold to direct them. There's a lot going on here, but the 2 remaining Gorn seem to sense they are being directed and avoid going where the crew want them to. So Spock does something rather surprising and literally calls forth his anger to go after the Gorn and lure it in the right direction. It's very intense as he runs after the Gorn, and Sam pulls him out of harm's way just in time. The Gorn are trapped together and one kills the other, but they aren't through with the plan. There's still one left. Now it's La'an's turn to go after the Gorn to lure it in the right direction. She manages to get its attention and run to her hiding place just in time. This is when a burst of continuous cold gas hits the Gorn, eventually freezing it. La'an ensures it's really dead by smashing the frozen statue of the lizard to pieces. The end. See how good that would have been if we just stopped there? But no. Hemmer's contact with the venom not only burned but impregnated him. La'an knows it as well, and as they are sealed in, the rest of the crew can only watch as Hemmer sacrifices himself before the Gorn gestation cycle can complete, leaving Uhura with some final words of wisdom. And shockingly, Hemmer throws himself into a ravine. The sadness swallows the crew as they tow the ship back to Federation space and hold a funeral for their lost comrades. It's a time to reflect on who they were and what they had meant. And it seems, I do believe, Uhura has made a decision, though it's never said. I told you it was a rough one, didn't I? My thoughts on today's episode kind of hop around from, isn't it funny that Spock's annoyed by all the human drinking games, to how dare they kill Hemmer? When they find the humanoid and La'an just tells Uhura to do something because the universal translators aren't working, I love Uhura's response. That's not how linguistics work. Though it is funny, communication seemed to work just fine. Body language, lack of a threat by lowering the weapons, seemed to work just fine. Go Uhura. Mbenga's Freudian slip was totally understandable, but I think I have to reassess who knows this secret about his daughter, because no one was like, you have a daughter? So at some point, some disclosure must have happened. Maybe. I'm a little miffed we never found out why the girl didn't warn either crew what was going to happen. She knew enough to hide, so that kid just kept quiet. Twice. I'm concerned for our cast next year. Between Hemmer dying, La'an going off to find the girl's people, Uhura going back to Earth and presumably the Academy to graduate, plus the fact Spock is losing his shiitake mushrooms. Well, I feel like he's going to have to head back to Vulcan for a bit of a purge of a few things, but I suppose that could only take a few months, so he'd be back. And Uhura, like I said, could be graduating and head straight back herself soon. So, not all bad, but I was really loving Hemmer, and the loss of his character permanently is just plain upsetting. All in all, this was an incredibly good episode. Very adventurous and suspenseful. The Gorn graphics are creepy as all get out, from the hatchlings to the larger ones running around and jumping off walls. I especially liked getting their view of things. It was very well done. I was really taken with Chapel's fear in the sickbay. I was right there with her, freaked out. The whole thing was simply well done. And that's all I got for this episode. Another hit, in my opinion. I'm a little concerned about how next week will work as people are leaving, but that's a problem for next Thursday. Till then, please like and subscribe below. Have a great week, and take a look at one of my other videos. Till next week, bye.